All right, this video we're going to talk about the 5 reasons that land should be in your portfolio.
Okay, I pull up, hop out at the after party. You and all your friends here, they love to get naughty. Sipping on that hit, I know you love that Bacardi. 1942, I take you back in the raw. Okay, I pull up.
So in 2021, while we're filming this video, personally I think land should be in any investor's portfolio. There's a lot of reasons we'll go over, but pretty simply, it's one of the highest returning assets that you can buy. And when you just have a little knowledge of how to do a land deal, it can really explode your investing business, whether you're doing houses or apartments or storage units or whatever it is. Understanding how to buy and how to trade land is so important because all of your assets sit on top of it. So let's get into it. All right, starting with reason number 5 is the simplicity in due diligence. So if you think about investing in a traditional asset, whether it's a single family rental, a multifamily, a storage unit, whatever it is, if you're doing it correctly, you probably have a long spreadsheet of different scenarios, a ton of different due diligence check marks, things you have to do, check, get appraised, get inspected before you get to closing. And oftentimes that can run months and months and months. And so when it comes to land, there really aren't nearly as many check boxes. So, where you're going through and running different scenarios on how to exit a property or how a value add might play out, we don't really have to. It's pretty simple. Land only has a couple different exits, whether it's a cash flip, an owner financed, or you're going to do some sort of minor development. But past that, in our niche, there is not much more due diligence to be done. So obviously there are a few important things to make sure the land is usable and zoned correctly, but really past that, it's a very easy process and very repeatable. Reason 4 why I love land is it's very systematic. So kind of going off the previous one of simplicity and due diligence, whenever it is that simple, you have a lot more ability to remove yourself from the process. So if you are investing in single families or fix and flips, apartment rentals, it's generally your experience that brings a deal to life. It's your ability to look at it, to imagine all the different exit scenarios, to bring funding, and all sorts of different things have to line up. And oftentimes it's your skill set, it's your genius that's doing that, which is great. But when you want to remove yourself from a business, you don't want to be hustling and working all the time. You need something that scales and that's simplistic. And so that's another reason I love land, is because the due diligence is simple. Generally, when we're funding or flipping a deal, the numbers are very simple. There's not a million different ways to exit it. It's just kind of in and out. And so, we could go on this topic forever, but land is simple. There is not an asset on it. There's not a house. There's no tenants. There's nothing to worry about. And so it makes building the business, not just the investment, but building the business much more realistic. All right, the third reason I love land so much are just simply the returns, the ROI, the IRR, the NOI, whatever you want to call it, how much money you make based on what you invest. All right, land, oftentimes we can buy a property for 30 cents, 20 cents, 40 cents on the dollar, which allows us to make, as you would imagine, 150, 250, 350. We've made thousands of % returns of our investment in the properties. And past that, we often operate in the land space in an area where the banks just don't. They don't have capacity to loan against properties under $100,000 because there's no asset on top of it. And so we not only do we buy land at such a discount, but we have the ability to finance it, to owner finance it. So when we're already making 200 or 300% returns, you can go back in and add in a 8%, 9%, 10% interest rate, because it's a very unique, really a situation you're not going to be able to find is financing for these kinds of properties. And so we come in and act as the bank. So not only do we have massive returns because of the discounts, but we also have the ability to finance those returns. So it just adds up, and often our returns are massive. The last couple of years, the IRR of my business, the money that we invested, was over 160%. And so, and that's after cost, employees, scaling, all those things. And so the returns are huge. All right, getting down, reason number 2, I love land so stinking much, is the supply. And this will hit hard here in 2021 when single family apartments, mobile home parks, storage units, everything. The supply is zero and the demand is through the roof because interest rates are low, the Fed's printing so much money, everybody wants to go out and buy investment properties. And the traditional asset class of all the things I just mentioned, well, they're booming right now. The prices are in the stratosphere. Nobody knows if they're going to stay there or go back down, where the supply is low. So there's not many opportunities to buy, or at least not as many. With land, that's a different story. There are millions and millions and millions of vacant parcels across the country, and oftentimes the people who own them really aren't that attached. Again, with a house, like, people get attached to the home, they get attached to the asset. It's someone's house where they live, whereas a property, there's significantly less emotional attachment to it. And so when you mail somebody, you say, hey, we're buying land, quick and easy close. So since there's so much supply and not significant emotional attachment, when you put out a piece of marketing that says, hey, I want to buy your property, we're going to do a quick, easy cash close. If you're not using it, we will buy it from you, easy peasy and done. You get a lot more people who are interested. They say, yeah, you know, I'm not using this. I inherited it. It's been in the family forever. We're paying taxes on it. We're not using it. And oftentimes it's in a different state from where we even live. Those people don't have significant attachment, way less than they would a house, again, any of the other traditional assets. Supply is high, attachment to the property, to the asset is low. It's really just a perfect storm, and oftentimes in land, we don't have much problem finding deals. Rather, where you really differentiate yourself is how you sell them, the partnerships with realtors and how you market digitally. That's what really can separate you. So if you have those skill sets or you think you can develop them, you can really differentiate yourself in the land space. All right, so the number one reason that I think you should have land in your portfolio, my friends, is the simplicity, okay? Land is easy. There are no headaches. It sits there, it behaves itself. There's no tenants, there's no termites, there's no toilets, there's none of that stuff. When you buy a property, whether you're just gonna flip it and sell it directly, or sometimes we do minor improvements like subdivisions, cutting in roads, clearing the property, things to that effect. It's very, very, very simple. Again, there's no pushback, there's no tenants, there's nobody to clear things by. The property is what it is. So where oftentimes you see landlords and hear of the horror stories they have with broken pipes on Christmas Eve and on and on and on, the roof's leaking, the roof falls in, the tree fell on the house, whatever it is, we don't have it in land. The tree could fall and it's fine. It's just a piece of land, right? So when you add raw land to your portfolio, whether you're just flipping it or you're owner financing it, once the transaction is done, there is virtually no management. So land is very simple, and kind of going back to what I was saying earlier or in the previous videos, is that land scales well. Because it's simple, because there's not many headaches, because there's not much management, it can allow you to take the asset and really build a strong business around it. All right, as always, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. All our social handles will be here below the video. And if you're interested in learning more about land investing specifically, click the link around here, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.